Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Player One podcast. I'm your host, Josh Kutsadi, or Gizzy. I'm sorry for the delay. I know you've all been desperately waiting for another episode, but me and my partner Romy, we're currently on a van trip around Australia, and it's been pretty hard to try and figure out how to do this on the road. So, welcome to the setup. If you're following on YouTube, if you're following on the page, this is me in the van. This is our baby girl called Ollie. And yeah, so we've took off about 3 weeks ago, and me and Romy, we're heading around Australia. Probably, not around Australia, probably just the East Coast. We've got 8 months up our sleeve, so we're going to make this work along the way to film some episodes. They're only going to be 20 minutes, just me solo, until I get guests on, obviously. Then probably, hour and a half with a guest on explaining a very specific topic. With me, you're going to get Player One metaverse sort of stuff, gamer's life. That's what we've been around from the start since over 2 years ago, 2.5 years now. Treating life as it was a game, and you were Player One. Now, obviously, if you follow, and if you've seen some things we've been posting, I've been posting quite a bit about the metaverse and life being a game and traditional markets. That's just my bias. I'm interested in the markets and trading and all that sort of stuff. But the metaverse specifically, when Sam and I started this podcast 2.5 years ago, we thought about the framework of treating life as if it was a game and you were Player One, just because we like the framework, and it helps us specifically to live a better life. It helps us set goals and to achieve them by treating life as if it was a game and you're Player One. But since last year, I've talked about this again before, that the metaverse became a thing that man, this is not maybe just a framework of thinking about life being a game. It's actually becoming quite a stark reality. And we've talked about this again before. The Game is Life, the book that we talk about by Terry Schott, and how that links. It's what set up the podcast. And the crazy thing about it that I'll just dive into is, in The Game is Life, the game is what they call it, and the game is everything. The game is the entire economy, literally the entire economy. All businesses are based around the game. It's all everyone's entertainment, and it's everybody's education, more importantly. So everybody works around the game, engineers and whatever, entertainment and different TV stations. They all focus on reporting about the game and characters in the game. And the education is from 0 to 18. I think it's about 10 or whatever it is, but since a young child to 18, you enter the game to play, you live multiple lives, and you keep recycling until you're 18 in real life. In the game, you can live multiple lifetimes. Once you hit 18 in real life, your 18th birthday, you're no longer allowed to play the game. You move into the real world, and based on how well you did in your lifetimes and how well you scored and how much money you earned, that sets up your life. And if you did terribly, then you're probably going to have a shit life. And if you did really well, you'll be rewarded for it for sure. And the crazy thing is how the economy works around the game. And for me, I'm interested in macroeconomics, and for what I'm seeing at the moment, like I've been saying, the metaverse is a number of years away. I'm thinking about 2028, 2030 is when it will really hit you in the face, and you're going to be like, holy shit, this is everything. But now this is just basic hype. This will go away pretty soon, I think. And I wouldn't place my chips here if I'm an investing betting man. But it's interesting to see it starting to come, and the ideas that are floating around and people getting excited and all that. It's pretty cool to see. But what I'm seeing is where this goes later on. And man, I'm telling you, this book, it's an 8-part book series. The Game is Life. It literally lays it out. It couldn't have been scripted any better. And it's just crazy how many similarities I'm seeing already. I spent a lot of time this. I don't know if anyone listening, I used to, and you might have as well, you might have been into like World of Warcraft and RuneScape and all that sort of stuff. And it's fun to play those games because you're an avatar and you build your character and you can see your friends and all that. But now I'm seeing some things that there's a guy called, I think it's Redban on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he's interested in DAOs, and he plays a lot of these weird games, and he has like a podcast in the metaverse, which is pretty cool. You can go in virtual reality, and all your guests listening can be in there live with you, and you're all your avatars in your own little world and whatever. And he gets like 5,000 views live, and I'm like, that's pretty cool, doing a live podcast in the metaverse. And this is it's a decentralized autonomous organization. Don't know what he's called it, don't know how it works, but a DAO is what I'm interested in, because it's a decentralized autonomous organization using a blockchain and cryptocurrency. So that's how he works it, and that's its own little ecosystem, and it's a decentralized ecosystem. So nobody fully owns it. It runs on a decentralized network using the blockchain, and the money that flows around, if there is any money in a DAO anyway, is given to different shareholders within that. So if you spend money in there, and if you invest, and if you're getting rewarded by, maybe you're a developer in that DAO, like your own metaverse, right? Let's say that I created the Player One DAO, right? And it's a VR little metaverse that we've set up together. And everybody listening, you can join in the podcast with me with your virtual goggles. Maybe we're all got our own little vans and we're chilling, right? And we're all different avatars. We dress up how we want to dress up, whatever. And you can all be in your van, and we can all have a little convoy, and we're all in this podcast together. You can talk with me, I can talk with you, I can see your avatars and whatever. And that's a cool little world. We can build it however we want it. If you guys know how to code and you're developers, let's build it how we want, and we can have fun within that. And not only that, but if you're developing more, you can get paid more, and you can own and earn what's called a governance token. So let's say it's the Player One coin. You all earn Player One coins for developing certain things that people like and they're spending money on, and whatever. There could be different mods for different vans and different skins for your avatars and whatever. It's our world. We do what I want, and you get rewarded for what you give. And you earn governance tokens, and a governance token gives you rights and like a majority shareholding within the organization. So now, like, you're an owner, right? The more governance tokens you hold, the more ownership you have, and the more decisions you get to implement or vote on. So if you want to change, we're going to move to a different world, or you want to change our world that we're in, or we all have to have pink vans or whatever, you hold the governance tokens, and you can implement that. You implement more majority votes, right? Like, you don't get total say. We're a decentralized organization here, and you're not allowed to own over a certain amount, so you don't get total ownership. Anyway, this is a long story short. The thing that I'm talking about is a DAO and this decentralized finance and all that sort of stuff is what I'm interested in now. And that might not make a lot of sense if you're not really invested in this space and you don't really understand it. But if I'm thinking about a metaverse, and for what I've been reading about The Game is Life, I know it's a sci-fi fantasy novel and book series, but it's honestly like mind-blowing how similar it is to real life and what's happening around us. Like, whether anyone agrees with it or can see it yet or not, the metaverse will change everything for real. And not as quick as you're thinking, but indefinitely. And that's a scary thing, because I personally believe there's no going back once it's implemented. And these are things you want to start thinking about and possibly investing, and at least just becoming aware of now, because once it is implemented, there's no going back. Like, once you've already into this system of a centralized system and whatever, you're going to miss out on a lot. Not only are you going to miss out on your say and how things work if you didn't understand it earlier, but you miss out on the money as well. Not only on the money from being an investor, but for having ownership of what you produce. Like, here's a great example. I can show you, I'll post this on the Instagram, right? But when Facebook released and changed their company name to Meta, their ownership parent company to Meta, there was an Instagram page called Metaverse. I don't know how long she'd had the page for, but she called it Metaverse, the tag, the handle, right? And this was before the company changed. When that happened, right, they just automatically, Instagram, because obviously Meta owns Instagram, they just deactivated her account and stole her handle name, because like, they own the company, they can do what they want, and they've got it. They've got like a what's it called? Like a bloody, what is it? Private proprietary limited thing? I don't know what you call it, but anyway, they own the ownership rights of the username Metaverse, and she had to find a different name. And you'd think like, oh, well, that's her name, she owned it, but really she doesn't own anything. Like, you're using the Instagram network, and whoever owns Instagram has total say over what happens. So they can simply deactivate it, and there you go, you're done. They can deactivate your account if they don't like what you're saying and whatever. And you might be like, oh, well, that's fair enough, like, they own it and whatever. But think about it. If you were in a totally decentralized world or system or network or whatever, that couldn't happen. Do you know what I mean? Because nobody owns the network, nobody owns the platform, you're all contributing together, right? Because there's tons of influencers, you all post your stuff, we all post our stuff on there, and we'd like to think that we have ownership, but we don't. And, you might get some royalties and some commissions if you've got a big enough page and you're doing ads and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, you're only getting a commission of any of the money that's earned. And obviously the network will gain most of the money because they own it, right? Well, in a decentralized world or network or a DAO or whatever, you will get paid for what you're worth. Doesn't matter what platform you're on, unless you're in a centralized network, then that's a bit different. But if you're in a decentralized network, whatever you do, you have 100% ownership, 100% commission, 100% royalties. It's all yours. You produced it and you earn from it. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, like your data, we all leave a data footprint. We all know that by now. And we all know that whoever owns the network and whoever owns the data, they make money by selling it to advertisers. And we know that, right? But we sort of agree with it because it makes life easier just to go with it anyway. But there's ways that you can make money from your data, from your footprint. Do you know what I mean? There's ways that you don't have to sell it, or if you're going to sell it, you can sell it as an NFT or whatever. And anyway, these are just things that I think that you should be thinking about, and it's worth thinking about now. Just because of a compounding effect and blah, 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 whatever. To me, it's interesting. To me, it's important for a number of reasons. But anyway, quick rant about that. And another thing, these little 15, 20-minute episodes that I want to start implementing as well, just because I'm in the van, I don't have that much time, don't have reception, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to be editing anything. So this is going to help me stay on track, stay on par for these 15, 20-minute episodes by myself and make it a bit easier for me to pump them out a bit more so I don't have to bloody spend time editing, whatever. So another thing I want to add in for this episode, for a little touch base with you guys, is there is hope for the metaverse. There's hope for the DeFi world if you're interested in that sort of stuff. And that's probably where I'm going to start taking these episodes with a solo thing, because that's my thing. That's what I'm interested in. Sam's interested in some other things. And we're on different paths with this sort of stuff, So Sam has some great wisdom and some great knowledge. Obviously, if you guys follow him, you understand what he's about. He still works this player one mindset that he is playing one in a game. This original idea that we founded 2.5 years ago, that you are playing one in this game of life. And if you think about it from a metaverse perspective, right? If we all base in, say 2028, 2030, the metaverse is everything. Everybody's in it. We're all basing our businesses around it. TVs around watching players in the metaverse and whatever. Like, people want to watch your characters and blah, blah, blah. Then it's not too far-fetched to think that we're already in there. And this is what we're doing. We're just creating another one within an infinite loop, possibly. But just forget that for a second, and let's just say that this is you. Like, you are really playing it right now. And what are you doing every day? And I thought about that a lot before I left, because I wasn't like, I'm always doing something, but I was sort of like, man, what am I doing? Like, I would like to do this and I'd like to do that, but it's like, what's that quote where it says, life passes most people by while they're busy making grand plans for it. And that hit me quite a bit. I think it's Walt Whitman. Could be wrong about that. And I was thinking about that, right? And I just thought, like, I would always love to do a van trip, but I'm not 50. I don't want to really do a caravan thing around Australia. That's what old people do. And then I was like, well, I haven't been doing much for the last 2 years, if you know what I mean. And I was like, man, I'm out of here. I'm going now. And we'll make it up as we go, I guess, and make the most of it. But that's where I'm at. That's where I'm glad and I'm lucky enough to have Romy with me to come this journey. So if that's something you're interested in, then I'm going to be here in Ollie. I've gone around Australia and you're going to be part of it anyway. But if you want more, then obviously just follow my personal page, and that's sort of stuff that I'll be sharing there. I won't be talking about, the whole metaverse or anything on my page. That'll be strictly for the Player One network, which is a small little chat group we've got on Instagram. If you guys want to join that, we talk about charts, we talk about crypto, NFTs, and metaverse. It's like a smaller, tight-knit version where I can respond quickly rather than the podcast. So if that's something you're interested in, just give us a DM on the Player One podcast page and you're welcome to join. And if we get big enough, obviously, then we'll just chuck in a Discord channel. We're already full actually on the Instagram page, but if there's enough interested, then I'll just chat up the Discord and we can all jump in and you can ask questions whenever you want. You also get a say in what we talk about in the podcast as well. Not only what we talk about in solo episodes or seminar together, but even some guests that we get on. If you guys are interested in things that are aligned with this Player One mindset, metaverse, NFTs, crypto, to me, it's all connected. And you guys will see that soon enough. But then let me know and I'll get the guests on. I'll get the experts in and we can talk about this. And yeah, thank you for listening. And I'll keep this short and sweet. Like I said, 15, 20-minute episodes for the solo episodes. And I'll probably see you, don't know, maybe a couple of days. We'll see how you go. Peace.